Hi, my name is Abu Bakr Zidan. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Tennessee, and I will be presenting about transit ridership trends during COVID-19. This figure shows the overall transit ridership, rail ridership, and bus ridership in the United States from 1920 to 2020. And as we can see that the overall ridership and rail ridership both hit 100-year lows in 2020. On the bus side, things were not much better, and the bus ridership is at the lowest level since 1930, which suggests that transit is facing unprecedented challenges due to COVID-19. Therefore, in this analysis, we aim to explore changes in transit ridership and service provision in 2020 compared to 2019 for all MSAs in the United States for both rail and bus. In order to do that, we explored more than 200 MSAs in the United States, and we clustered these 200 MSAs based on the clusters, which define three main clusters: high, mid, and low. The high is agencies have operation expenses more than 300 million per year. Mid agencies have expenses between 30 million and 300 million per year, and low agencies have operation expenses less than 30 million per year. I should note that we explored New York MSA separately because it represents a considerable amount of the ridership in the United States, and it was a hotspot in the early stages of the pandemic. This figure shows the ridership decline in green and service provision decline in orange for New York high operation and mid operation clusters for rail. And as we can see that there were severe declines in April 2020 in New York in the high operation expenses and the mid. And these declines reached about 92 in New York. Then the ridership started to return back, but slightly, but still we see that by the end of 2020, ridership is only about the levels of 2019. Although the service provision was restored to about 80% of the 2019 levels. Again, if we look at the bus ridership and service provision declines, we see the same trend. Massive declines in April across the board, and then we see slight recovery, but then still by the end of 2020, ridership is only at 50% of the levels of 2019, although the service provision was almost restored and at 90% the 2019 levels. Next, we explored each MSA separately, and for the sake of time, I will be just showing one example. This figure shows the bus ridership decline both in absolute value and percent compared to 2019 for the high operational cluster. And as we can see, there were big decreases in big cities like Chicago, San Francisco, and Washington, DC. From this analysis, we can come up with these preliminary findings. First, we can see that the overall ridership and rail ridership hit 100-year lows in 2020. Next, we can see that bus ridership generally experienced less decline in percent-wise compared to rail. And this is likely because of essential workers and transit-dependent riders. Last, although I didn't go into the details, but we see that commuter rail was the most impacted mode. And this is expected since one of the first measures that took to reduce COVID-19 was telecommuting. In the next steps, we'll be estimating econometric models to explore the causes of decline during COVID-19. Thank you.